Imagine this, a funeral home sent the casket with your mother's body to the wrong country. Put it up. This is sad but true. A New York family is now suing Rivera Funeral Home, alleging workers sent the casket containing the body of the 96-year-old mother, Carmen Maldonado, to the wrong country to be buried, which the family learned via TikTok from a journalist posting about the mistake in Guatemala. Miss Carmen Maldonado's wish was to be buried next to her husband in Ecuador. The complaint outlines the allegations that occurred after Miss Carmen died on May 18th in New York. 2 days later, her children entered into a contract with the funeral home regarding the disposition of the remains of their mother to be laid to rest in Ecuador. Now remember, they're on day 2, okay? I lost my mother a couple of years ago. You have to get in, we just got to get this done mode, okay? You have to categorize things, get stuff accomplished. You get to grieve later. Your children, you have to do this part. So they do it. So on May 26th, the funeral home decided to carelessly send the body to the wrong country. And then they failed to advise the family of the error. Court documents said that they decided not to properly advise them. Ms. Carmen's children were, quote, horrified, saddened, sickened, dismayed when they learned about it. Her body remained in Guatemala from May 26th through June 10th, when the son had to go and get it, had to recover it. By that time, Rizzuto said her remains were gone. They were badly decomposed. Quote, the hands of the body, the skin was falling off, so they had to wrap them in saran wrap to his mother. When the family posed the question, put them up, to the funeral home about the mix-up, they claimed the funeral home denied the whole thing. Now the family is suing the funeral home and the company that owns it. Quote, they tried to cover it up, and there is no excuse for that. And if the family did not see this on TikTok and confront them, the funeral home would have never told them, according to the attorney who's pictured. This is not the first time the funeral home, which operates in the primarily Spanish-speaking community in the Bronx and in Manhattan and in Brooklyn, has been a subject of controversy. The New York City Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, DCWP, secured over $600,000 for consumers that were actually harmed by this same funeral home. Now, here's the issue I have. If the government has fined you $600,000 and you are a business that provides a service like this to the community, why do you still have a damn license as a funeral home director? How does this happen? That license is not easy to come by. There's more. The settlement stemmed from a lawsuit the DCWP filed against Ortiz for egregious violations. What does egregious typically mean? It typically means you do it and you don't give a damn about repairing it, because the egregious part is not the mistake, it's your failure to remedy the mistake. There's more. Egregious violation of the city's consumer protection law, including refusing to provide information regarding the whereabouts of loved one remains, misrepresenting or concealing the prices of services offered, failing to provide service that consumers paid for in part because they routinely presented remains in unacceptable condition. In one case, someone reported a loved one's body emitted a terrible smell. The body appeared to already be visibly decomposing. Another funeral home customer reported that when she arrived for her grandson's viewing, this is the grandmother, his remains were leaking liquid. The wax on his skin appeared to be melting, and the body appeared to be in a state of decomposition. The experience was even more extreme as one of her grandson's eyes would not stay shut, constantly opening and moving throughout the viewing. The document said, listen, regardless of your faith background, when somebody you love dies, obviously it creates an emotionally charged atmosphere of a lot of different expressions of feelings, okay? And you can feel these things in fluxes. To have that emotional roller coaster happening with you that day, that week, that month, and then these individuals are the ones mishandling the person's body that you simply would like to lay to rest, because what you're trying to lay to rest is your peace. They made theirs. They're not here anymore. They passed on to the other evolution. But you are trying to find peace. All right. I remember, dear brother, when a funeral home owner years ago did something really egregious and manipulated the system, had ashes sent to people that weren't even their parents or their loved ones. And he had, when he went to prison, went to trial, he had to wear a bulletproof vest because people wanted to kill him. What say you?
I mean, listen, first of all, I'm a comedian. This sounds like a really bad plot for like a Weekend at Bernie's type of a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, right off the bat, that's what I'm thinking. But secondly, absolutely tragic. And thirdly, I'll be honest with you, before I even get into that, I had wanted to be cremated, and now I definitely want to be cremated because, to your point, then nobody knows if it's me or not. But
Yeah.
this is, I've gone through, having to bury loved ones, and to your point, that first, time period after they pass, you're just trying to get it done, and you're spending money, by the way. It's not like this was a free project, and it's not like this is a human being that you're getting wrong and sending to the wrong place. It's not like you're at Starbucks and they give you the wrong coffee. This is something serious and deep. And to your point, how does this business stay in business? I always function under the assumption that the businesses that I see, or if I'm looking at a government official, that they're competent, that they're actually doing stuff. And it's constant where we see people doing things that are unscrupulous like this and getting away with it and continuing to get away with it. I'm reminded of the George Santos situation, where somehow he ended up in Congress having done all of that fraud. And so this company, this funeral home, somehow, after having that, because you just listed off, it wasn't the first time they made this mistake. They continue to egregiously make mistakes like this, and they're somehow in business. How are they in business? And furthermore, geez, I guess like you really should read the Yelp reviews and whatnot before you call a funeral home, because you really want to make sure that they did a good job before you get involved with them. Because to what you just read, these guys have continuously messed it up. Why haven't they been shut down? Unbelievable, and tragic.
Yeah, they seem to be a top paying client to the government. That's why they haven't been shut down. They pay up the fees. And at the end of the day, it seems like that's what the entity would prefer, you to pay money to them rather than be regulated and closed down, which would actually protect consumers.